All right, guys. Good morning. I just had a friend send me a really encouraging message about not being bullied, and it's something I don't put up with in my life. But I want to talk about right now family issues because what do you do when you have family that doesn't want to bother with you based on accusations, lies? So I had this mother, and she's not my mother in my eyes anymore. She not only had forced me into an abortion with my father, but she later on, when I reached out to her because she had I think she was sick during COVID, my brother let me know that she didn't want any contact anymore. So I don't bother with her. But what she's done is she was like this awful grandmother. Like she wanted every single little thing her way. And when I said, I'm the mother, just like my mother in law, things are not always going to go your way, um, she would make up these things about me. And so I didn't really ever have a mother. But my brother and his ex wife had like tons of issues. And I said, you ought to try to work it out. And because of me, because of my advice, they had this daughter who is my niece. And um, my brother and I would talk, and I shared the gospel with him. So he is saved, which is great. He came to know Christ and went to church with me. And I said, you need to make sure you're giving her enough love because my dad didn't really give me any. So I said, make sure you're giving her enough love. And he has been there for his daughter, as far as I can see, like repeatedly. But her mother is like, I mean, she says she's a Christian, but she does not live for Christ. I see her constantly. Um, she used to, like, the only time she like contacted me on Facebook once was to be critical. So the enemy uses criticism, shame, condemnation against God's children. There is a difference between that and truth. Like I told my brother, you're going to have issues with your daughter if you don't get to her because her mother encourages her to basically dress like a whore. So I had reached out to her last night. She needs some help. She wears these like Playboy bunny ears. She doesn't know how to keep her clothes on. And that's where she gets her self-worth. Um, this is not the Christian way. The Christian way is to find your validation through Christ, right? So she got all ticked off and blocked me. But yeah, you learn it. You learn the worldly ways. Like I learned my mother, very worldly. My grandmother prostituted. My aunt, same thing as my grandmother. Basically, I don't know that she prostituted, but she was with a bunch of men. My aunt, Teresa, my ex-sister-in-law, dancing on tables, 3 abortions. This is kind of the way that a lot of women act. Like I had an aunt who had 3 husbands. So you want to come out of that as a Christian. If Christ died for you, you don't want to no longer be in that lifestyle. So, as I tried to help my brother with her, she had her own mother, encouraging her to act a certain way. So the same thing with my mother. My mother would use me as a kid as her trophy. So as long as I was with her on her side, and I got praise from people or whatever, she would use that and attach to me to make herself look good. And then later on, she did it with my brother's daughter too. She attached onto her to make herself look good. And this stuff is really subtle and it's hard to see. But when you do see this stuff and you speak truth into it, people are going to hate you. So don't be bullied though by it. And, if you've been through this as a girl, and I use my channel to help girls, you see a lot of stuff. Like my family, I said, comes from the project. So I've seen a lot of stuff. I was never close to my mother except as a little girl. Of course, most little girls love their mothers. They want to be like them. I saw my mother and my grandmother go into a store, steal some stuff. I think when I had post-traumatic stress, some of this stuff was coming back to me. Just a really low standard of living. And I know my mother always claimed to be the victim, but she wasn't. And there were many things she did that were rotten to my brother. She hasn't taken responsibility for that. So she actually not only encouraged and brought me to a clinic for an abortion, but she would always choose my father over her kids. And I said, that's something I will never do. So, you know, as a Christian too, this is something that you need to be able to come out of. Don't take rejection personally. You know, I also have family that likes to make up things about me. Like I had this job situation and there was a misunderstanding with it. And I have family that likes to make things up. Like any rumor they hear, they like to make things up and try to attack me. So my mother-in-law, she is still trying to, you know, attack me through the family, and my sister-in-law, Carrie, and Rob. So I did send a message to Rob's aunt and said, basically, why are you trying to friend me? What is it that you want? Don't let yourself be bullied, because if you do, people will walk all over you. And I know my brother's ex-wife, Teresa, her own son will not even bother with her, which is really sad. But it's because of the way she is, the type of mother she was, and the way she was. And she divorced and remarried, and it looks like she remarried for the money and that kind of thing. But make sure when you come from a family like this, you choose better for yourself. Put yourself around other people so that you can grow and come out from them. So that's what I got for today, guys. Thanks for joining me.